Let's see what this dick can do.
Hello, my fellow Ixians. You may be very saddened by the hit put out recently by the Chud private alpha playtesters. They just hate to see Abrams winning for so long, floating in S tier as a hero. For pretty much the past 2 years since before the game was even public, we finally took an L and floated from our humble S tier rank down to a high A tier position, which doesn't really affect us that much, to be honest. We still are pretty much on top. People think that Abrams is now very weak, but he's actually still one of the strongest heroes in my opinion. He's very solid. He just takes a bit of a playstyle change compared to before, which was more gun focused. The changes the devs made with Abrams was pretty much moving his damage elsewhere to another part of his kit, which is Siphon Life, or I guess evened out his damage. They evenly distributed out more of the damage into most of his kit to save some time from reading the mountains of changes that they made to pretty much everybody, and Abrams included. They reduced his gun scaling a tad bit, made Siphon a tiny bit weaker and smaller in radius. They made his 4 a tiny bit weaker, but allows you to use active abilities while channeling the ult, which makes things like this happen.
Going up. Now. Now. Drop it in. Going up.
And they made his 3 stronger. The catch here is the fact that most of his T3s are really good now and scale better into mid and late game, which is pretty much how he used to work already, but his gun damage just was really strong early game and scaled really good into mid to late game, which is where he was a monster. So now pretty much early game is a little weaker.
Starting with Siphon Life.
His T3 gives more DPS, though it is nerfed and does less damage than what it used to give on his T3. It gives better scaling by 0.01, which feels like a little bit, but feels like a spike once you actually end up upgrading it. And it's worth maxing Siphon now over maxing Ram Charge first. Now simply because of these changes and because your T1 Ram no longer gives you plus 2.2 damage from an X amount of time anymore. That was moved to his T3 upgrade, but does still offer a confirmed heavy melee on T2 Ram upgrade. Which one thing I forgot to mention is the fact that the Ram stun on base unlock is now extremely strict for light melees. So when you unlock your Ram and slam someone into a wall, within the millisecond of that happening, you have to buffer your light melee, which to most people that read the 3-hour long patch notes, they most likely don't realize that they can still get buffered for a light melee. So you can use that base Ram stun to potentially get some light melees in and maybe parry bait them. But just keep in mind, one light melee, the millisecond you hit that Ram, can't be late or you'll actually get parried now. Now to get some tech in for the Ram Charge, when I tell y'all we are blessed to be Abrams mains, we are blessed. So in case some of y'all didn't know, Abrams still holds a very fun mechanic called HMC, or I guess in this occasion, it's including the Ram, so it's called SCC, which stands for Shoulder Charge Cancel, but for all intents and purposes, we will just call it HMC. HMC stands for Heavy Melee Cancel and is the act of using specific actives to cancel your heavy melee, most notably Fleetfoot. HMC is used for parry baiting to buffer 2 free heavy melees, or in the old days was used to both escape unfortunate situations or to close a gap between fleeing enemies or distant team fights.
I can't. But I can see it through walls. What? I need to get her quick. I need to get her quick. Holy shit.
Nice try.
Bye-bye.
For Abrams specifically, you were allowed to do this without the need of actives and only needed your Siphon Life to pull this off, but eventually the fun police intervened and took our fun away from us. But anywho, the modern HMC looks a little like this.
Let's go.
To perform this nowadays, you got to be pretty much close to or on top of the enemy. You can't be too far away from them, as you will need some airtime to make it work. So try and be right next to them or pretty much on top of them. And when you are next to or in them, you will jump and ram. Once the ram connects for less than a second, you will cancel and slide jump your way to freedom. Very simple and easy to understand. You can practice it a couple of times. You'll probably get it within the second try, if anything. Modern HMC is only used for sticky situations. So pretty much when you are out of position and overextended, or when a fight is looking like your demise. It is a free escape card, pretty much. If you invest some move speed, however, like enduring speed or fleet foot or burst fire for some reason, if you ever run a gun build again, or if you have the movement buff, you will go flying when using this little ability of yours. I actually have not seen many people put that mechanic to use. I think it's an intended feature in my opinion, because they did added the ability to have momentum on RAM somewhere like a long time ago when they in a certain patch, but hopefully not. Hopefully not. I think it's whack to continuously just remove fun aspects of a video game, in my opinion, especially since there are other heroes that can do canceling of melees with just abilities alone, not just with like fleet foot and stuff like that. Now moving on to Abrams' 3, his passive Infernal Resilience got some very interesting T3 buffs. He now has built-in debuff resistance at a whopping 20% at T3 upgrade for Resilience, which means if you invest a humble debuff reducer early or mid game and build it into your 3 after ram charge and siphon, you will have 40 resist by late game, or probably into mid, especially if you get ahead. It's very nice to be a true tank now, especially since Siphon Life now has an 80% lifesteal and scales with more spirit damage, and now damages enemies anywhere in the circle and not just a cone in front of you to just constantly track them and keep an eye on them and all that stuff, and you can't focus on everybody inside the radius. And hopefully I feel we will have a bright future as Abrams mains going forward, and I hope this video does not age like milk, because holy fuck. And it annoys me that everyone got a buff and then Abrams is one of the very few that got very big nerfs. And finally, his ult is actually a bit weaker than before and doesn't really need to be upgraded, to be honest, which is why most builds will have you max Siphon, Ram Charge, and then Infernal Resilience in that order before maxing Seismic Impact last. It is not worth it just for the Unstoppable, so please do not upgrade that third, second, or even first. I mean, I don't know why we do that first, but you know, save it for last. And for using the Seismic Impact, if you happen to be right on top of them when hitting ult, however, you can definitely heavy melee, and T2 upgrade gives you a window of a 2.2 stun, so you can definitely land a heavy melee and maybe even set up some big rams to help your teammates out or whatever in team fights for whatever you want, especially for mid confirm as well. It's really, really good. For builds, I have so far stuck with Iphonz build. She has consistently updated and changed the build according to what works and what is most efficient for Abrams, which is not to say that Abrams isn't a flexible hero. He just works better as a hybrid. A lot of his damage comes from multiple sources being very useful in his kit, like his gun, spirit, and even melee damage combined with his tankiness is just perfect. It's perfect. That's what a good tank is. In total, the top 3 builds that I personally would use if I ever get bored of doing one specific style are these 3 right here, as they will be in the description too with build IDs in case you want to find them and use them. Also, something unrelated, but I've been getting a lot of IDF soldiers and some Mossad agents here and there on my team just donating and breadsticking my games the entire time. So really, hopefully we flesh out some of these individuals from certain ranks, because holy, matchmaking is a very big rough thing right now. It's horrendous. But anywho, hopefully this video helps you understand Abrams a little bit more and hopefully helps you improve in some way, shape, or other form or whatever. And I hope to see more Abrams players in the field when I'm playing. Maybe even steal them from me, bro. That'll make me happy, just seeing more Abrams players. But anywho, again, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.